Chapter 52. The Real Ambush Location. 30 minutes later, the doors of the inn were pushed open again. A group of armed bandits drove out of the backyard in their off-road vehicles, with Wells carrying Jerky-chan sitting in the back seat of the second car. They were still conversing, but each of them was writing and drawing in their own notebooks. The content of their conversation was merely to let Hiroshi hear, but the words written in the notebooks were their true exchange. So, those people are all ambushed around the farm, ready to surround us after we arrive? There won't be any police among them, right? Wells wrote on the notebook. Absolutely not. They're just residents from the town, with combat effectiveness close to zero, Jerky-chan flattered, writing on the notebook. From what I know, recently, many people in the town are dissatisfied with you and your brothers for snatching food and are preparing to unite against you. Wells turned his face and saw the words Jerky-chan wrote, his face darkening. Now, most of the South City police have been dispatched to support the borderline. You can take this opportunity to teach a lesson to all the towns around South City. They will never dare to resist you again. You are the emperor here. Jerky-chan added on the notebook. I am willing to serve you and be your most loyal lackey. We will start our plan from killing those led by Hiroshi. Wells stared at the notebook with a fierce and crazy killing intent. He snatched the notebook and then wrote a line of English letters on it. Kill them all. Jerky-chan recognized the meaning behind these words. Hiroshi sat on a mound, and in front of him were more than a dozen men who looked nervous and even trembling. They were divided into two teams, holding sophisticated firearms in their hands, wearing earphones for communication, and wearing armbands marked with numbers. They were the ordinary citizens who used to be farmers and merchants. They had a new name since yesterday. Self-Defense Team. Are you scared? Hiroshi asked softly. The members of the self-defense team did not answer, but through their body movements, it was not difficult to imagine their feelings at the moment. They were originally law-abiding citizens, but now they were forced to pick up guns and fight against a group of fierce bandits. Anyone who suddenly faces such a big change in life will inevitably feel fear. Now, there were 18 people standing in front of Hiroshi, including Jimmy. There were 5 or 6 fewer people than in the warehouse last night. Those 5 or 6 people who did not show up today were thinking that the danger of confronting bandits was too great after the blood cooled down last night. So when Jimmy gathered people this morning, they pretended to have caught a cold and were seriously ill, feeling weak all over their bodies and unable to participate in the battle. Hiroshi had already anticipated this situation. After all, these people were not specially trained soldiers, and fear and retreat were normal reactions. Those 5 or 6 people who did not show up were also excluded from Hiroshi's plan. Have some alcohol. Jimmy came over with 2 bottles of tequila, violently unscrewed the cap, put his mouth to the bottle, and drank 2 mouthfuls. He then handed the bottle to the next person. It can keep out the cold and strengthen your courage. Hiroshi looked at Jimmy with some surprise. He didn't expect this rough-looking man to have such a delicate heart. Alcohol can indeed boost courage. Even in ancient times, there was a saying that after drinking 3 cups of alcohol, one could dare to go fight a bear. 2 bottles of alcohol were passed among the 2 teams, and in this cold weather and tense situation, everyone wanted to use alcohol to dispel their fear. As the strong liquor entered their throats, first came a spicy sensation, as if a fire spread directly to the stomach, and then the whole body warmed up. In such cold weather, being able to drink a few sips of alcohol was indeed a rare enjoyment. At this moment, the faces of the members of the 2 self-defense teams were slightly red. Although there was still tension in their eyes, the sense of fear had diminished a lot, and even their bodies began to stabilize, no longer trembling. Boss Hiroshi, why don't you have a sip? Jimmy came over, holding a bottle of alcohol, and smiled foolishly. It can warm you up and boost your morale. I don't need it. Hiroshi shook his head. Although alcohol could boost the morale of soldiers, a commander had to maintain a clear mind on the battlefield. Therefore, Hiroshi did not allow anything to numb his nerves and affect his judgment. Then I'll finish the rest of this little bit. Jimmy raised the bottle of alcohol, drank the remaining liquor in the bottle, and then burped contentedly. This alcohol is really strong enough. As the old saying goes, Now I dare to fight with those fierce bandits, even with a knife." Hiroshi smiled. He suddenly remembered an old joke about drinking. "Before drinking, I am from South City. After drinking, South City is mine." Alcohol could indeed boost courage, but it could also inflate one's ego. Better to drink less. "Boss Hiroshi, do you think Jerky-chan can lure those bastards into the trap?" Jimmy squatted next to Hiroshi, asking with some worry, "I'm afraid they will see some flaws." Hiroshi smiled with a cruel smile. "Don't worry, everything is under my control." Just then, a voice came through the earphones of many position members. "They're coming. The convoy is coming." It was the voice of the lookout member. Hiroshi immediately waved his hand and said through the earphones, "Get into position. Get ready." The 18 team members dispersed quickly, moving swiftly to ambush on both sides of the road. Their gray-brown coats blended with the decaying bushes, making it impossible to distinguish them without careful observation. Yes, Hiroshi never intended to believe in Jerky-chan from the beginning. Jerky-chan was just a cannon fodder sent to death by Hiroshi. Therefore, Hiroshi didn't tell Jerky-chan the truth at all, and no matter what Jerky-chan said to those bandits in the inn, it wouldn't affect the outcome. The bandits would eventually leave the inn, and if Jerky-chan followed Hiroshi's instructions, the bandits would go to the farm to steal food. If Jerky-chan betrayed Hiroshi, the bandits would still think the battle was near the farm and wouldn't expect Hiroshi to ambush them on the way out of their stronghold. Jerky-chan thought he could outsmart Hiroshi once, but he didn't expect that everything he did was already in Hiroshi's mind through the monitoring guards, and thus sealed the fate of Jerky-chan.